Hello, Lockdown Diaries, day 42. Just a quick one this evening. I've been a long day on the front line of childcare. I just wanted to talk about currency, foreign currency, as I know it's something that bothers people or worries people about the concept of where they're going to get the money once they've gone overseas. Certainly, once you've left sort of Western Europe or North America, where you expect to have easy access to money. For me, when I came back from Australia. You obviously in Australian dollars. You catch the plane over to East Timor, and East Timor actually still works in American dollars, so that wasn't a problem. And then when you crossed the border into West Timor, that's when you start needing your Indonesian rupiah. And for me, setting off slightly unprepared and not really researching the finer details such as currency, all I had was my English debit card and the hope that it would work in the cash dispensers, and thankfully it did. And to be honest, that was a really big eye-opener, that even in the darkest depths of what you think is way off the beaten track, if you put your debit card, UK debit card or credit card, in a ATM, which are all over the place. West Timor, a small village or town I was in, and there'd be an ATM there. Okay, the exchange rate's not good, but you've got access to your funds. There's a few other options, and what's increasingly popular is sort of the top-up credit card or debit card, where you take that out before you leave, you chuck a load of money on it, and then you can use it in ATMs or at electronic transactions wherever you are in the world. And the transaction fee is minimal compared to when you're using your regular debit card in a foreign place. So there's lots of them on the market, lots with different rates, lots of different permutations. Some are credit cards, some are debit cards, but it really seems as though that's a good place to start if you're going off even into Europe, I guess. Just instead of taking your own debit and credit cards, just taking this singular purpose travel debit card, which reduces all your transaction fees. And even when you take money out of an ATM, it reduces that fee as well. I was just doing some research before this video, and I found what seemed to be the best one was currency. So, i.e. the word currency, but SEA at the end instead. And that seemed to tick a lot of boxes. Actually, that seemed really good, and it was actually linked to your own bank account. So instead of having to set up another account, you simply got issued another card which was connected to your debit account, and therefore you could spend as you progress to whichever country you're in with minimum transaction fees, and it would be coming straight out your UK account. So that seemed to be a really good one, and it had zero setup fee, and I don't see where they made the money, to be honest. It just seemed very good. Another thing you want to bear in mind, say you get somewhere and you don't, and you've run out of money or something's happened, is Western Union. Like Western Union and the other international currency transfer systems are really all over developing countries. India, Indonesia, Nepal, Thailand. There'd be Western Union offices and branches pretty much in every village and every town, because that seemed to be the way that the expats from, say, Thailand who were working in England were sending their money home. They were sending it home via Western Union and places like that. So if you can't get access to money, you're stuck somewhere, your card's declined, then somebody in the UK can go down. I think they can do it online now. You can simply send. It used to be a limit of £300 when I travelled. They can upload £300 to an account. You get a login code or an ID code, which you then send to the recipient, and they take their proof of ID and this login code to whatever office, wherever you are in the world, and they will give you the funds that that person in the UK has sent over. I know when I had my debit card cloned in Nepal and couldn't get my card out or get any cash out, it was my dad who was able just to send £300, and that tied me over and got me going again. And yeah, there was Western Union, or wherever you are in the world, I think. And there's probably other options, but they always seem pretty good, and the rate was what it was. They charged on it, but at least you got money. Ultimately, though, you can't beat cash. Cash is king, and I think it's always essential, certainly as you go more off the beaten track, just to have a steady stock of currency. If I was going around Europe and into sort of Eastern Europe, when we came back from Bulgaria, for example, where you were dealing with different currencies and you were getting them as you went, I would also carry with me, say, a couple of €100 in cash. And equally, when I was coming back from Australia, I had a couple of hundred American dollars, because that was a good universal currency that's well recognised wherever you are in the world. And I simply rolled that up, put it in a plastic bag, and on the Sydney-London trip just stuck it inside a pannier well outside that nobody's going to find and that I wasn't going to use, but in case of emergency I had a $200 fund that would tide me over until other options could be found. But essentially there's really, in this global world, there's not the need to worry about getting access to your funds as maybe they used to be. When you think of traveller's checks and the cumbersome nature of those, and the hassle. Even I remember when we had those when we first went to Spain, and I think we had traveller's checks, and what a palaver, what a faff. Whereas now, when I do the America trips, I'll probably go down to the post office or order some online, because that gets you the best rate. I'll get $1,000 worth or £1,000 worth of American dollars, and the rest I'll just maybe take out a cash machine, or I guess when you're using Booking.com, which is for me a big chunk of my daily budget. If I was using Booking.com, I would be booking on my debit card, and so it would be deducted it that way, and therefore I wouldn't have to carry cash or use debit card day to day in gas stations and things like that. I think always though, it's good to have two options: a debit card and a credit card. I think a credit card is the most invaluable tool that you can carry with you. Not tire levers, not puncture repair kit or waterproofs. A credit card, because if there's anything that's going to get you out of a hole, it's a credit card. And so I always, what are the two most essential things for travel? A toothbrush and a credit card. Anything else can be patched together and made to work, but without a credit card and a toothbrush, you're kind of going nowhere. So I'd certainly say don't worry about currency. Don't let it be an issue. Obviously, you want to try and do the thing that's going to get you the best exchange rate, and that'll come down to your planning. I'm terrible at that sort of thing. I always leave it till the very last minute and just have to take what I can get. But it's certainly not worth worrying about. So that website again was Currency, which seemed a very good debit card system linked to your own existing bank. Western Union, if you need an emergency slush fund, sending through. And then it also, if you have to send bulk transfers through to people overseas, who maybe you're renting a bike off someone, or maybe you're buying something off someone, or you're booking an expensive hotel stay or something. Also look at TransferWise, and that's a website that allows you to send English money to anywhere in the world with minimum fees. I don't remember the actual fees, but it's very, very little. I know when I was buying the fleet of 8 Australian postal bikes from Joe at 110 Motorcycles in Brisbane, ahead of Garbage Run Australia, I was sending him the equivalent of 9 motorbikes worth of money, which was a fair old chunk of cash, and I was just sending it through on TransferWise, and the fees weren't terrible at all, if any. I don't really remember any fee. Obviously, I think when they do the transfer, they will take a commission, but it was certainly bearable. So that's another one, TransferWise. So yeah, just a short one for tonight. I think tomorrow I'm going to talk to somebody who runs who's just set up like a touring hub in Scotland, which I really like the sound of. I don't know if there's a monetary involvement there, but they've literally set up routes which are there to give people inspiration and ideas for riding some of the best roads in Scotland. And then day after, I'm going to do, I've had a lot of people asking about planning a route across America or through America. I think the video on taking your own bike there maybe gave people ideas, and in this time of lockdown, I think we all need to dream. So I'm going to go through the route I've used across America, some of the highlights and some of the places that I think are worth staying, some of the ways in which I've found good roads and avoided the worst of the roads. So that'll probably be Sunday's video. I lose track of days. I don't even know. Friday tomorrow, isn't it? So Saturday's video will be America. Alright, hope everyone's keeping well. 3 days to Monday, when Boris will hopefully give us some certainty of what's to come. So we'll see you then. Bye.